AITA 4, pointing out the hypocrisy of someone calling a celebrity fat when they're also fat themselves. It all started in the middle of Sunday brunch, the kind of lazy afternoon where the table is cluttered with half-empty coffee mugs, syrup-sticky plates, and half-hearted small talk. My best friend of 15 years, Rachel 27F, was scrolling through her phone, snorting at some celebrity gossip headline. Without hesitation, she slammed her phone down and said, loud enough for the whole table to hear, "Ooh, can you believe this? Look at her in that dress, she's so fat." Honestly, it's disgusting. The her in question was a famous actress who'd recently gained weight after having a baby. But the way Rachel said it, it wasn't just cruel, it was venomous. I froze. Not because she was being mean about a stranger, but because Rachel herself has always struggled with her weight. She's been vocal about how bullied she was in high school, how much body shaming hurt her. I had comforted her through tears more times than I could count. So, before I could stop myself, I said it. Rachel, you do realize you're not exactly skinny either, right? How can you call her fat when you've been through the same thing? The table went dead silent. Forks clinked against plates. Eyes darted back and forth like they were watching a tennis match. Rachel's face turned red instantly, not just red, but the kind of red that comes from anger and embarrassment mixing together. She let out this short laugh, the kind that wasn't funny at all. Wow. Did you seriously just call me fat in front of everyone? I tried to backtrack, saying, no, I'm just saying it's hypocritical, but she cut me off, her voice sharp as a knife. Hypocritical? Or are you just jealous I have the guts to say what everyone's thinking? At least I'm honest. The rest of brunch was a blur of awkward silence and Rachel sulking dramatically, scrolling on her phone while everyone else avoided eye contact. Later that night, the fallout began. Rachel blasted me in our group chat, claiming I humiliated her, that I body shamed her, and that I had betrayed her trust as a friend. A couple of people immediately jumped to her defense, saying I was cruel and could have pulled her aside privately. Others stayed silent, probably too scared to pick a side. And then came the worst part. Rachel made a vague post on Instagram, something along the lines of, "Funny how people who are supposed to lift you up will tear you down instead. Watch out for fake friends." Within minutes, mutuals were DMing me, asking if it was about me. My stomach sank because of course it was. Here is where the betrayal cuts deepest. I had always defended Rachel. Through her breakups, through her meltdowns, through every messy fight she dragged the group into. It stood by her when she cried about bullies calling her fat whale in high school. It'd been the one to tell her she was beautiful, worthy, enough. And yet, when I dared to point out that her cruelty mirrored the very cruelty she hated most, she turned on me. Now she's icing me out, telling mutual friends that I'm toxic and obsessed with tearing other women down. Which is ironic because all I did was call out the exact thing she was doing. So I'm left asking, AITA 4 pointing out the hypocrisy of someone calling a celebrity fat when they're also fat themselves. Or am I just the latest in Rachel's long history of friends she uses until they stop enabling her behavior? The silence between me and Rachel stretched into weeks. She wouldn't answer my texts, my calls went straight to voicemail, and even when I bumped into her at a mutual friend's birthday dinner, she acted like I was invisible. At first, I thought she just needed time to cool off. Rachel was dramatic, but she usually bounced back after a few days. But this time felt different. She wasn't just ignoring me, she was campaigning against me. Slowly, I began noticing little changes in the group dynamic. Plans that used to include me suddenly didn't. Group chats that were once lively turned into muted, clipped responses when I spoke. And when I finally asked one of my closer friends, Mia, what was going on, she hesitated before whispering, "Look, Rachel's been telling people you've always been jealous of her, that you call her fat behind her back, that you hate when she gets attention." I felt like it'd been slapped. Jealous. Me. I'd been the one cheering Rachel on every time she tried a new diet, every time she bought a new outfit, every time she cried about not fitting into jeans. But in her version of the story, I was suddenly the villain, the fake friend lurking in the shadows. What hurt most wasn't Rachel's lie, it was how easily people seemed to believe it. A week later, things escalated. Rachel posted a body positivity rant on Instagram, complete with a photo of herself in a new dress. It would have been empowering if not for the caption, to the so-called friends who think it's okay to humiliate women about their bodies publicly. You're the reason so many of us hate ourselves. Just because you're insecure doesn't mean you get to drag others down. The post blew up. Her followers flooded the comments with sympathy. Preach, queen? Cut those toxic people off. You deserve better friends. And while she never mentioned my name, everyone in our circle knew who she meant. That night, I lay awake staring at my phone, scrolling through comments that indirectly painted me as a monster. I thought about deleting my social media, disappearing entirely. But a part of me burned with something sharper than shame anger. Because Rachel wasn't just twisting the truth, she was rewriting history. Here is the part I haven't told you yet. Rachel wasn't innocent. Last year, when I was dating my ex, Daniel, she flirted with him. At first, I brushed it off as her being playful, but then one night at a party, I caught them outside smoking together, whispering way to close. Daniel swore nothing happened, but I never forgot the way Rachel avoided my eyes afterward. I forgave her, or maybe I just buried it because I didn't want to lose my best friend. But now, seeing how quick she was to destroy my reputation, the memory came roaring back. It made me wonder, how many other things had I ignored, excused, or forgiven in the name of friendship? The final straw came at a wedding 2 weeks later. A mutual friend, Lauren, invited both of us. I debated not going, but I didn't want Rachel to think she'd won. I showed up, dressed nicely, determined to keep my head high. Rachel, of course, made a grand entrance laughing loudly, surrounded by people, making sure everyone saw she was thriving without me. Halfway through the night, I was standing at the bar when I overheard her voice behind me. She was talking to Mia and another girl. Honestly, I only ever kept her around because she made me look better. Standing next to her was like instant confidence boost. The words sliced through me. My chest tightened, my face burned, and I felt my throat close up. That wasn't just betrayal, that was cruelty, deliberate and calculated. I spun around before I could stop myself. Everyone froze as I said, loud enough for the crowd around us to hear, "Funny, Rachel." Because at least when I stood next to you, I didn't need to tear other people down to feel good about myself. The music dipped, heads turned, and in that moment I saw the flicker of shock in her eyes, quickly masked by anger. She tried to laugh it off, saying I was obsessed with her, that I was proving her point. But the damage was done. People heard. Whispers rippled through the room. And for the first time, I felt like maybe, just maybe, the spotlight wasn't protecting her anymore. Later that night, Mia texted me privately. I didn't realize how bad it had gotten. She's been toxic for a long time. I think people are starting to see it. And that's when it hit me. Rachel's betrayal wasn't about one brunch fight. It was about years of manipulation, insecurity, and cruelty I had chosen to overlook. She needed to be the victim, the center of attention, the one who was always wronged. And I had been her loyal, supporting character until I dared to step out of the script. Now, the group feels divided. Some still cling to Rachel, but others have started drifting toward me, whispering confessions about how they never liked how she treated people. It's messy, it's exhausting, but it's also liberating. For the first time in years, I feel like I'm not living under her shadow. So maybe the real question isn't AITA for pointing out her hypocrisy. Maybe it's, how many times do we let ourselves be betrayed before we finally realize some friendships were never real to begin with? In the weeks after the wedding, I thought maybe Rachel would back down. She'd been embarrassed, people had seen her mask slip, and I figured she'd retreat into damage control. But Rachel wasn't the type to lick her wounds quietly. She went on the offensive. First came the subtle digs online, cryptic Instagram stories about fake friends, reposted quotes about insecure people projecting their own issues, and dramatic selfies with captions like "unbothered" or "can't keep a real one down." Then, she escalated. I woke up one morning to find my phone buzzing nonstop. When I opened it, my heart sank. Rachel had posted a screenshot of an old private text I'd sent her 2 years ago where it complained about my body and joked about hating how all the skinny girls in crop tops make me feel like a cow. She captioned it, "And this is the person calling me out? Someone who shames others for their bodies because they hate themselves. Be careful who you trust." The comments exploded. Her followers dragged me mercilessly. Some even tagged me directly. Wow. Toxic much. Imagine projecting like this. No wonder you're jealous of her. I felt sick. That text was a private moment of vulnerability, not an attack on anyone. But Rachel had twisted it into a weapon. I tried explaining myself in the comments, but it only made things worse. People accused me of making excuses, of playing the victim. And through it all, Rachel just kept posting, thriving off the attention. At this point, I considered cutting my losses. Maybe I should just leave the friend group, delete my social media, and focus on myself. But then, something happened that changed everything. One night, Mia invited me over. She seemed nervous, kept fiddling with her phone before finally blurting out, "I need to tell you something. Rachel's been talking to Daniel again." My stomach dropped. Daniel, my ex. The same one Rachel had flirted with behind my back. Mia showed me the screenshots. Flirty texts, late-night messages, even a suggestive selfie Rachel had sent him. And the worst part? Rachel had been telling Daniel that I was obsessed with him, that I still talked about him, that I was jealous of any woman he dated. It was the final betrayal. Not only had she twisted my friends against me, but now she was trying to rewrite my entire romantic past to make me look pathetic. I felt something inside me snap. For so long, it played defense explaining myself, denying her lies, hoping people would see through her. But Rachel wasn't going to stop. She needed me ruined to keep her throne. So I decided, if she wanted war, I'd give her war. The opportunity came sooner than expected. A mutual friend, Claire, was throwing a big birthday party. Everyone would be there: Rachel, Daniel, the whole circle. I debated staying home, but then I realized this was my chance. At the party, Rachel arrived in full performance mode. Laughter too loud, outfit too tight, clinging to Daniel like she owned him. She shot me smug glances across the room, like she'd already won. But what she didn't know was that I'd come prepared. While she paraded around, I quietly showed a few trusted friends the screenshots Mia had given me, Rachel's texts to Daniel, her manipulations, her lies about me. Their eyes widened. Some gasped. Others whispered, "Oh my God, I knew something was off." Word spread quickly, like fire through dry grass. And then, at the peak of the night, someone confronted her. "Rachel, is it true you've been trying to get with Daniel behind her back?" The room fell silent. Rachel froze, then laughed it off, saying it was just a joke. But when people started pressing, when others pulled out their phones to reveal the evidence, her mask finally cracked. Her voice got shrill, her excuses weaker. Daniel looked uncomfortable, then angry. And as the crowd turned on her, I just stood there, calm for the first time in months, because the truth was finally out. The fallout was brutal. Rachel stormed out of the party in tears, but the damage was done. People stopped defending her. Some even messaged me later apologizing for believing her lies. But for me, it wasn't about winning or losing. It was about realizing how far I'd let Rachel's toxicity control my life. Yes, I'd exposed her. Yes, she'd lost her grip on the group. But the real victory was internal. I no longer cared about her approval, her games, or her spotlight. Rachel tried to destroy me, but in the end, all she did was free me. Now, months later, I look back and wonder, how many other people has she done this to? How many friendships has she poisoned with her insecurity and need for control? The answer doesn't matter anymore, because I finally understand betrayal doesn't always come from enemies. Sometimes it comes dressed as your best friend, smiling, laughing, holding your hand while secretly waiting for the moment to stab you in the back. And once you see it, you can never unsee it.